Bon dia. Buenos días. Welcome to the Louis Vuitton Cup Press Conference. Tindrem aquí aquest matí a un timonel de cada equip y le podréis fer las vuestras preguntas. Esta mañana tendremos aquí a un timonel de cada equipo. Nosotros le plantearemos una serie de cuestiones y después abriremos el turno de preguntas. We are going to have here one skipper from each team and you will be able to ask them your questions. The press conference is going to be in English. La prensa local tenéis a vuestra disposición traducción simultánea. Sería ideal que las vuestras preguntas fossin en anglès, però si algú necessita ajuda intentarem asistir desde aquí. Tened en cuenta, por favor, los fotógrafos que solo os podéis mover por los laterales de la sala. Teniu en compte, si us plau, els fotògrafs que només us podeu moure pels laterals de la sala i la gent que està en el centre no us podeu aixecar perquè la roda de premsa estarà sent grabada. Si os sentáis en el centro, tener en cuenta que no os podréis levantar porque la rueda de prensa va a ser grabada. Please keep in mind, photographers, that you can only stand up along the sides. And if you sit in the center, please remain seated once the event begins. Moltes gràcies. And now, Jesse, bon dia. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Bon dia, good morning everyone, and welcome to the official press conference ahead of the round robin stage of the Louis Vuitton. Big welcome to all our media joining us here in Barcelona, but also all the fans tuning in from around the world. My name's Jesse Chuk. I'll be hosting the press conference again today. Well, we got a bit of a teaser last week of some quite brilliant racing in the Louis Vuitton preliminary regatta, especially on that Super Sunday. What a match race final that was. I think it's fair to say we're about to take another massive step up as we progress into the real thing, the Louis Vuitton Cup. For over 50 years, the objective of the Louis Vuitton Cup has been to find the strongest challenging team that will race the defender in the America's Cup final. And tomorrow racing starts towards that objective. Just breaking it down like we did last week, the format of the week. So the format for the Louis Vuitton Round Robin Series will see once again one-on-one match racing with teams racing each other twice. At the end of the 2 round robins, the challenger with the lowest number of points will be eliminated. It's quick and it's harsh and teams really need to be firing from day one. There's also an added incentive. The challenger with the most points will select who they race in the semi-finals. Emirates Team New Zealand will sail the 2 round robins and then step aside to see who they'll race in the America's Cup final in October. With the preliminary regatta, we had 4 races per day, and that will be the same throughout the Louis Vuitton Round Robin Series, with the first race starting tomorrow from 2 p.m. local time. All right, before we speak to the teams, let's take a little look at what drives them for their pursuit into the America's Cup slice of history. Let's have a look.
Trying to win the America's Cup does end up becoming all-consuming. It's an obsession.
One of the great questions in life is, what is it about this competition that draws so many people in?
Winning the America's Cup, for me, it's the Holy Grail.
It's everything a human being can dream of if you're a little bit ambitious in life.
You have serious skin in the game, day in and day out. You live and breathe this competition.
The America's Cup is my life.
It's unlike any sporting trophy in the world. It definitely haunts you.
What is obsession? What drives the most successful among us to strive for success, no matter the cost, to never rest until they've reached their goal? It can't be just their will to win. There has to be something more, something deeper that drives them. Inch by inch, rep by rep, 1% by 1%, day after day after day. For the teams, the designers, their backers, the fans, This competition is their everything. Each has their own story, their own pressure, the expectant weight of a nation on their shoulders. But who will emerge victorious? Welcome to Barcelona, the battleground of the obsessed. This is the 37th America's Cup.
Yeah. All right, well, we've got another great lineup, slightly different lineup up on stage this week. So let's get the ball rolling, starting with defenders of the America's Cup and recent winners of the Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta. It is Emirates Team New Zealand skipper Peter Burling. Next up, challenger of record Ineos Britannia's skipper and CEO Sir Ben Ainslie. Skipper of Alinghi Red Bull Racing, Arno Sardafagas. Jimmy Spittle from Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Helmsman of New York Yacht Club American Magic, Tom Slingsby. And skipper of Orient Express Racing Team, Quentin Delapierre. Well, guys, welcome. Pete, we're going to start with you again, obviously, coming off the back of that win in the Louis Vuitton Preliminary Regatta. I mean, it's evident the racing is really ramping up. That final against Luna Rossa was one for the ages. The rivalry is certainly alive and well there. But there's 4 other really strong challenges as well, Pete. I mean, are they closer than you thought they were going to be? And do you think this week we're going to see some surprises, some upsets?
Yeah, well, I actually stand by my words. Last time I sat in this chair where the challenging group is the toughest I think it's been in a long time in the America's Cup. We saw some amazing racing during this preliminary series. I think everyone's got strengths and weaknesses, and it's going to be super exciting to see what happens over the next 2 weeks. I mean, at the end of this double round robin, one of these teams is going home, so it's the level's going to get raised to a whole other space, and we're just excited to see what unfolds.
Well, Ben, Pete just said it there. The reality is that after just 8 days of racing, one team's 3.5-year campaign will come to an end. It's fast, it's brutal. What kind of pressure does that add to the team going out racing?
Yeah, that's right. It's starting to get serious in a hurry, isn't it? And we're now racing for keeps. Been through the preliminary regatta, which is a great opportunity for all the teams to sort of size up against each other. Certainly a huge amount of learnings, I think, for all of the teams. But yeah, now each point counts and you've got to make it work. And what was the debrief from your team? Obviously, there was a few unforced errors in that preliminary regatta for you. How critical were you and the team? Yeah, we're always pretty realistic and hard on ourselves. I think we did a pretty good job of making ourselves look bad. And always in that situation, you're looking at what were the mistakes. Some of them, to be honest, were pretty simple, easily rectifiable mistakes. Others, not so much, but we certainly identified them and we spent a lot of time either during the event itself and after racing, rectifying those or, analysing them back at the base behind the scenes. So, yeah, plenty going on and lots of developments to come. We'll jump down. Tom, Ben talked about a bit of an up and down week, similar to you guys out there. I mean, you've talked about it before that if you can have an equal or even competitive AC 75, you back your sailing team to win against anyone here. Can you kind of talk us through how confident you are in that sailing team, your partnership with Paul Goodison, and I guess how you sized up the week?
We had some really good races and some races where, we just weren't good enough. I think anyone here would be pretty happy. I think we all back ourselves, and if you were to say to anyone up here that they could have an even boat against anyone else competing, you'd be pretty happy with that because we all back our sailing skills. But look, it was really interesting for us to see all the teams, strengths and weaknesses of some of the teams. It's yeah, it's quite interesting to see how you stack up. And yeah, as for us, American Magic, I think we showed our potential in a couple of races, and then other races we sort of fell a bit below that. And yeah, we've got to be realistic. We can't let that happen. Now the points count.
You talked about a couple of good races that won against Emirates Team New Zealand, handing them their only defeat in the preliminary regatta. How did you see that race? What did that do for the team?
Yeah, it was really good. Obviously, we had a tough race against Luna Rossa where they did a really good job at the start and kept us out. And then after that, we had a breakdown against the French. And so, yeah, it's easy for momentum to start sort of going the wrong way. And that really sort of put us back in a good mindset. It showed that we can do it. Yeah, for us, that was really promising. It's the first time we've actually sort of gotten off the line pretty similar to Team New Zealand to get a good look with them, and we started really well. We got a couple of wind shifts, and yeah, they were coming back at us at the end. But it's really good to know if we sail really well, we can win races against the top boats.
And you think they're the top boat at the moment?
I think it's a bit of a wind condition and wave condition thing. I don't know at the moment. Everyone's you haven't really seen everyone's cards yet, but. Yeah, I mean, you would say that Team New Zealand in the flat water southwesterlies looks extremely quick. They seem extremely manoeuvrable. Maybe lighter conditions, they've got a bit of an edge. Luna Rossa looked very good on Sunday. I thought they looked very fast. They looked good in all conditions. I think, yeah, we felt pretty comfortable in those conditions on Sunday with a bit bigger waves. So, yeah, I'm not sure yet. We're all sort of just trying to figure out everyone's strengths and weaknesses.
Jimmy, a shout out from Tom next to you there on how the team was going. I mean, great racing on Sunday, but that was preliminary. The warm-up's done. Things get real from tomorrow. Can you just talk us through how important it is? One single race dropped or a reliability issue could be the big difference out there. How important is it going to be guns blazing from tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, look, it counts now. There's no more practice. I think the whole fleet has had a reliability problem at some point, either through the preliminary regatta or even some of those kind of media practice days. So it's on everyone's minds, but you have to understand, I mean, these boats are literally on the edge. Like, we push these things very, very far, and they're incredible machines. So it comes part and parcel with the very edge of technology and pushing things hard.
Do you think you're the favourites going into the Challenger Series?
I think what the prelim regatta showed was that everyone had their moments. Everyone went out and won races. But at the same time, there were mistakes throughout all the teams. And it showed if you made too many mistakes, you'd be punished for them and you'd lose that race. And every one of us experienced that.
I know. I mean, a good start to the preliminary for you. One win, but then 4 losses. But you still finished off the bottom of the leaderboard. Going into this round robin series, how many wins do you think you'll need to avoid elimination and progress to the semi-final?
Well, that's a pretty good question. I think we just need to make the cut. And the goal for us is to win as many races as we need to go to the next stage, and mainly just to through every race is make sure we make one step forward to progress and avoid mistake. We saw last week that we had a good game plan, but a few mistakes put us on the back foot. So I think this week we're just gonna go out there the way we know to sail the boat and just really push hard. As if we manage to have a good start, we can win any races.
Is there races that you've looked at that you go, these are the races that we need to win? Say against Orient Express Racing Team, those ones are potentially must-win races, and then ones against, say, Emirates Team New Zealand or Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli would be nice, but if that's a loss, it probably doesn't affect how you're feeling.
I think, to be honest, we need to win every races. It's not we're not looking at Orient Express as a weak team. They are a really strong sailing team. They are a great package. Everyone is fast on the water, so any win is a win, and we will see end of the round robins who is out.
Well, Conton, on that note, finished on the bottom, but Arnaud said there that you're fast. You've got a great boat. We all know that. seemed to be a few frustrating, unforced errors. Do you think you go into this series as the underdogs? And if so, what does that kind of tag do for the team?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that frustrating. We know that we didn't have so much experience around the racetrack, and especially on the starts, not have the opportunity to race against another boat during the campaign. So the preliminary regatta for us was an unbelievable experience, just to learn as much as we can. I think on the start and the pre-start we learned a lot, and we will show it tomorrow. So I'm really confident on the team. I think the challenge is huge for us, but many departments inside the team learned a lot and improved their skills during the preliminaries. So yeah, there is a good opportunity for us.
Pete, looking ahead to tomorrow, just want to talk to you about the wind conditions. It's looking a bit light. Obviously very difficult in those light conditions to plot a course, find the breeze, good shifts out there. We've seen it on the broadcast, and everyone around the world has as well, the great new tech, the Wind Sight IQ. How good would that be to have that kind of tech on board the boat, and in general, how tough is it in those conditions?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what the sailors are trying to just do with their eyes, but it's incredible to see the way the technology's evolved into actually being able to, I suppose, visualise on a graphic what we try and do. And yeah, it's just incredible to be able to go back and review what could have been. Obviously, we could have used that a little bit against the Americans in that race, missing a big left shift, but it's great for the broadcast for sure.
Okay, we'll open up to the floor now. Just a reminder, please raise your hand. We've got a couple of microphones floating, and state your name and organisation. We'll jump down here first.
Hi, good morning. I'm Carlos Pic, local freelance journalist for Seahorse Magazine and the Catalan TV. I have three short questions. The first one is for Tom. Could it be possible that the issue in your rudder was due to an impact with a floating object or a small fish?
It wasn't. It can happen that way, but no, it wasn't the case. It was a failure of a hydraulic part.
And the other two are for Jimmy Spithill. The first one, si creu que amb 6 punts són suficients per passar a les semifinals.
Do you think that 6 points are enough to win the semifinals?
We're just going to have to wait and see.
Només hem d'esperar i veure.
And the other one, si té algun sentit que mostrin les seves cartes davant de Team New Zealand.
Do you think if it makes any sense to show all your cards in front of Team New Zealand?
I mean, there's definitely risk for all the challengers up here, because, we're racing for survival here, and Team New Zealand isn't. They get quite a massive advantage, actually, by doing this. There's a lot of risk for the challengers. At the same time, you get to race the benchmark team in the America's Cup. So it does go both ways, but for all the challengers, there is some risk there.
Yeah. I'll go Matt first and down to Tom.
Matt Sheehan, Planet Sail. Question for Ben and also for Jimmy, actually, but I'll start with you, Ben. This time, in the last Cup, going into the beginning of the Challenger Series, you'd had the best part of a month off. You'd rebuilt pretty much everything on the boat bar the hull, and were able to reconfigure your boat and the rest of it. This time, you've had 2 days. Does that put you under a lot more pressure? How does that change things? Does that mean that the die was cast for all of the teams up there months ago because there's no chance to change? And just before you answer, a similar kind of question to Jimmy, because you were the other helmsman who was in that team in the last Cup, and I wonder how different it felt for you. But first with Ben.
Yeah, I think that's right. To a certain extent, the performance is baked in, a couple of months ago or a month ago, in terms of being able to make any serious modifications to the boat. I mean, you can do it, but you we talked about this in the last catch-up, that you almost have to be around ahead of yourselves in terms of measuring in any significant component changes. So it's still possible that teams could change something reasonably serious, like foils or rudders or sails. There are many tweaks that can be made to these boats regardless of that can have a big impact on performance. So there's still, I would say, for all of the teams, there's still plenty of performance on the table, but in terms of making significant changes like you talked about in Auckland, that's much harder to pull off.
And are you under much more pressure? Do you feel under more pressure as a result of that?
Not really. I think now that we start racing, as we talked about, the points count from here on in, so of course the intensity ramps up, but each team will be on their development pathway. I think some teams we've seen are more polished than others for whatever reason. The trick is over the coming weeks, which teams can unlock more potential than others.
And Jimmy, your views on how it feels this time around versus last time?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's that much different in that you want to go into these round robins as prepared as you can be. And naturally, which is kind of ironic, you do these 4-year campaigns and then you get there and you feel like you need more time. It's just a natural feeling. And at this point, we certainly feel comfortable. I think we've got a great boat, a great team. I'm sure everyone up here feels the same way. But at this time, we've got to get out there and get the job done and go out and win races. A big one for us is we're not looking too far into the future. It's a bit of a marathon, the America's Cup. And for us, it's really just day by day. Let's just take one race at a time. We don't need to look too far ahead.
Todd.
Todd Nile from Stuff to Jimmy. Jimmy, day 4 in the prelims, a lot of penalties, a lot of really aggressive sailing. Was that a deliberate effort to send a message to other teams not to mess with you?
I don't think so, because I think we're on the receiving end of those penalties. So I think the other teams would be pretty happy if that was the message we're sending. But look, I think what it highlighted is that the fleet is close and we can get great racing out there, and especially in those sort of conditions. Barcelona can be quite a wavy and rough racetrack, which really pushes the sailing teams hard in terms of their manoeuvring and even straight line sailing. So, yeah, it's challenging racing in those conditions, and that provides passing lanes.
And if I may, to Ben, the one thing that you've managed to do in the break, or the most important thing to lift your performance?
Going to me trade secrets away here, Todd. But yeah, it's everything. But I think all of the teams have talked about just how close the racing has been, and I think the manoeuvring, has stuck out for everybody when you have such close racing as this. Manoeuvrability and performance and reacceleration is pretty critical.
Let's go down here.
Am I next? Shirley Robertson, ACTV. A question for Quantan first, please. We've learned a lot about your team in the last week. For sure, you got a fast boat. That's very exciting. Also, that your team has a massively positive energy, a real can-do culture, and also that you're learning at a real mind-blowing pace. Every day, the whole thing looks stronger and stronger. Now it's about to kick off. Tomorrow it gets real. How excited are you for that?
It's a great feeling. Of course, the whole team is really exciting because we are rushing ourselves for a year now. We came quite late, everybody knows, but it's a big challenge and the ambition is quite high. We are not there just to participate. We are pushing every day and we just want to win races. We were really close on Sunday, but unfortunately we were not able to do it because missing the right jib or still doing some mistakes, but also learning a lot. So I'm really confident with what will happen because, as you said, the boat looks really fast and the feeling on board is great. And just have to improve the starts and just start in front of the others.
Well, we all hope we see that. Can I ask another question? Is that right? To Arno. Arno, it's been 14 years since we saw the formidable Alinghi line-up in the America's Cup arena. I can imagine there's a lot of expectation, both within the team and at home in Switzerland. Practice is done now. That's it, as Ben said, it is baked in, it is done. I mean, how are the nerves? First America's Cup. Describe what that's like.
Yeah, as you say, it's a big comeback for Alinghi to come back in the Cup, and I got the privilege to be sitting here with all the other skippers, and for me it's really energizing us. We have this legacy with us, but it's only good pressure. We have everything that we need to perform and to have the people to back us up. So I think we just need to do what we did for the last 3 years and put on the water what we learned, and from there we will see what happens. It's a raceboat race, so anything can happen. We're just gonna go out there every day, push hard, and win races.
Just lastly, if that's all right, to Jimmy. Jimmy, we get the privilege of watching all the action firsthand, often in many screens. And to me, it feels like this is a Luna Rossa team more focused than ever. You stayed in Cagliari for ages. There's not much on social media. It doesn't look like there's much distractions. Listening to the onboards, it is very calm, way more than we've ever seen before. Would you describe this as the best Luna Rossa team ever?
Well, we're about to find out. I mean, the beauty of sport is that you get judged by one thing and one thing only, and that's results. You can have the best social media, say whatever you want on the shore, but ultimately every single one of us here will be judged at the end of the day by the result. And again, that's really all we are focused on right now. We're taking it day by day. We know when you're going at this sort of level, mistakes will happen. You obviously try and minimise them as much as possible. That's certainly something I see as a strength in this team, is that it definitely comes together in the tough moments. And from my experience doing this for a long time now, that's something that's very, very important in the team. So, yeah, we're going to take it day by day and just try and learn and grow stronger as the competition progresses.
Just jump in here, two in there. Yeah.
Michele Tognozzi, Fare Vela. America's Cup, you guys say that all about teamwork, design, speed, and time. So, how much do you think you can still time to develop your boat for Peter, Ben, and all of you?
Maybe we'll just do a couple.
Yeah, well, I think that's the exciting thing about the America's Cup is you're always evolving. You're always getting quicker, whether it's through physical components or how you're actually using them. So I'm sure we'll see the level just keep lifting and lifting over the next months until the end. And that's such a big part of this competition.
Tom, do you want to have a crack at that one?
Yeah, I mean, for us, our physical development time is over. We don't have new parts coming on the boat, really. We can improve as a team through our skill set and our ability to sail the boat. But other than Team New Zealand, who have a month and a half until they start racing, they can still bring on new components. They can make modifications, which take time. They've got that ability, especially after seeing us all sail, which is quite a nice thing to have. But we don't have that. We've got to be ready for tomorrow, and our time is now.
Jimmy?
I haven't got anything to add to that. I thought that was a good summary.
Perfect.
Lisette Raymer from Stuff New Zealand. Jimmy, I know you've had a lot of good battles with the Kiwis over the years. Now it's getting down to the business end. I just wondered if you had a message for Team New Zealand and Pete Burling right now.
No, the focus for us is the challenges. I mean, we're definitely going to learn as much as we can off the Kiwis, because clearly they're the benchmark team, and they just won the prelim regatta. And so, yeah, look, right now our focus is on getting out there and executing clean races. We're not thinking too much about one individual team as we go through these round robins. We're really, in a lot of ways, thinking about ourselves, what we need to do out there, how we do our jobs, and, you know, learning from each race as it comes.
Lucas from the Swiss television SRF. A question for Arno. You had now some free days, or not free days, but race-free days. How are you using that time? We could read in the press, in the media release, that you did some adjustments in the boat, some design adjustments. We were asking ourselves what that means, and how does it also change the way how Boat 1 will sail in the next stage?
Yes, so last week we had the chance to see all the boat and kind of do a relative check-up on performance and all aspects across the board. And the shore team and the design team did a fantastic job on trying to get extra knots out of our boat. And as well for the sailing team, we just did some rest, but as well look at what we should improve to be able to sail the boat slightly better every day.
Could you state a little bit more on what that means, design adjustment? I know you cannot give us details, but is that something that we will feel in the next stage from the outside, or is that something too small to describe also?
Yeah, I hope we're going to feel the difference that we made on the boat. I will not go in details, but I'm sure everyone that is looking closely to all the boat will be able to notice them. And we're just going to try to improve. It go through all the little details. It's either outside or inside the boat and all the logics. So there is many little things, as the other guy said, that you can do and improve the performance every day.
There's just one at the back here. Up the back.
Bon dia, good morning. I'm Albert Sadó from Barcelona Television, BTV, local TV station. For Peter Balling, what team do you want to avoid in the final?
We don't really get the choice, do we? But yeah, I think the exciting thing is that it's going to be one heck of a competition over the next months through to the Louis Vuitton final, and whatever challenger comes out is going to be very strong. So we've just got to get ready for that, and I think Jimmy summed it up well before, is that very much we've just got to make sure we're the best team we can be going into that final, and that's exactly our philosophy, and looking forward to racing this round, but then also becoming a spectator for the next two.
Hi, Niall Mayan, AC Media. Just a quick question, not so much about you guys and your race coming up, but obviously we've got the youth and we've got the Women's Cup coming up as well. So for Pete and Ben as defender and challenger and record, and if any of the other skippers want to say anything, how closely are you looking at the youth and the women and what those fleets are doing for where I think ultimately we want the sport to be in a number of years' time? How do you see those fleets and the potential there?
Well, I think it's such a cool part of this iteration of the America's Cup, having both the youth and the women's competition. I was fortunate enough to compete in the youth competition a little while ago, so I think there's a real pathway there. But now with the women's added to that, brings so much excitement. We've got a lot of integration with our team. Seeing them compete is going to be a real highlight for us to cheer them on and give them all the support we can. So it's going to be a super exciting time, watching them duke it out.
And Ben, do you want to say anything just as challenger record?
Yeah, agree. I mean, it's fantastic to see both of you coming back and the first ever Women's America's Cup. It's a really progressive step for America's Cup. Great to see. We've seen a number of sailors across all of the teams come through Youth America's Cup. We had a young chap, Neil Hunter, from the 2017 Cup. Last Youth America's Cup came into our senior team, and I know across all of these other teams, team members from those youth teams coming into the senior teams. So it makes a huge amount of sense from that perspective, but also where we've seen in sports in general, just this take-up of female sports and the opportunities for female athletes in sport. That's great to see, and I think we're going to have a really exciting competition ahead.
There's one down here. We've probably got time for one or maybe two more.
Isabelle Musi from Swiss TV. Maybe to Tom and Quentin. During the preliminary regatta, we saw some much closer racing on Sunday than the previous days. How much the conditions will have an impact on that? I mean, on the racing, and what do you expect for the next few days?
Yeah, I think we still haven't seen everyone in all different conditions, but yeah, we felt pretty fast in those wavier conditions for American Magic, which was a good thing. Prefer that than being slow. So it's we're not sure, but for us, we thought Team New Zealand were really fast in the flat water, but maybe didn't have the same edge they had in the waves. So for us, it feels like there might be a chink in the armour there, and yeah, we don't know what we're going to get here in the future. So it's interesting for us to see, and we're going to learn a lot more in these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the sea state will have an impact on the racing, and for us on Sunday, we were honestly discovering our 75 in those conditions because we didn't have the opportunity to sail in this northeast breeze, which is quite choppy. But we were really pleased to see the yacht in those conditions against the Brits. I think the speed edge was really good. Unfortunately, we missed the right jib call, but yeah, of course the sea state will have an impact. I'm not sure if there will be a huge impact on the boat handling and on the sailors compared to the design. Probably a bit of both, but yeah, we'll see.
Pete, Tom thinks there's a chink in the armour in those conditions. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've always got to have things to work on, don't you? I think like everyone, yeah, we're just trying to learn our boat. We haven't been here very long yet, and probably like Quintan said, it's actually the first time we've sailed it in that breeze direction. I felt it was more probably picking some shifts for us that we were struggling with that day, but it's definitely made for some exciting racing for sure.
Okay, we got time one. You guys can fight it out. No, we'll go 2 more. Both, yeah, you can come. Time for 2 more and then we'll wrap it up.
Good morning to everybody. I'm Fabio Pozzo La Stampa. I would like to ask to Ben, sorry, I return to the first question of the colleagues. The defender participates in part of Louis Vuitton. Who really benefits? And are you sure this is a good idea for the challengers?
It's a great question, and it's something that actually gets debated.
The past not.
It gets debated a lot by the challenging teams. Some teams think they may be strong, so why do they want to go up against the defender and show the defender they're strong? Other teams think, well, maybe we might learn something from the defender. Ultimately, if you want to have practice racing, you can't have practice racing without the defender because they're organising the event. So I think that puts that one to bed. In previous long history of the America's Cup, you used to have defender trials, you used to have multiple defenders, and that was a way for a defender to get racing, and they didn't race until the final, and that was really exciting. But in recent history of the America's Cup, it's been the case there's no defender trial, therefore it's been agreed that the defender gets some level of racing. Then there's the argument, actually, should the defender points count in the round robins? Yeah, that's a good debate, because I'm not saying Pete, in any sense, would ever try and manipulate the results, but that could happen. So there's many different, potential outcomes from all of this. I think ultimately what was agreed is fair. Of course, it gives the Kiwis a chance to check in on the challengers, but for the challengers, it also gives us a great opportunity to learn. And given that the Kiwis ultimately won the event, I'd say actually we probably learned more from them than they learned from us.
Thank you.
And we'll just go 1 more, Shirley.
Great question. Just carrying on from that, actually, to Pete. Thinking back to Auckland, you didn't get to join the party this early, and actually, when you did come, some might say you were a little bit race rusty. But now, very much, the fox is in the hen house. How much of an advantage do you think it's going to be? How much of an opportunity is it for Emirates Team New Zealand to get to play this early?
Well, I think Ben summed it up really well. There's positives, there's negatives. In Auckland, we still raced the preliminary regatta. We raced the Christmas Cup. We did all the practice racing, the media days, and then obviously exited at that point. So yeah, I think it's, to be honest, great for the event, seeing everyone race one another. It helps build that excitement, and just seeing the excitement building through the preliminary regatta, especially with those couple of tight races on Sunday, was awesome. So yeah, hopefully there's some more tight races to come, and some more exciting times ahead.
Oh, no doubt there will be. Okay, we're going to wrap things up there. A big thank you for all the media joining us here, everyone tuning in online as well. Also, thanks to our hosts and partners especially. Remembering the round robin kicks off tomorrow, local time from 2 p.m. We hope you'll all join us out on the racecourse or in the race villages around Barcelona. Look forward to seeing you out there. Good luck to all of the teams. We'll see you on the racecourse. Thank you.